It feels like it's been a long time since a solo game has sucked me into its immersive universe from the forefront. Just hooked me by the skeleton balls, pulled me in, and made me feel like I was living in the game. One thing that I've sort of came to realize with gaming over time is that if I have to force myself to be immersed into said world, it means that something isn't right. There's a lack of detail in the environments or the creatures populating the world. The world itself feels barren and bland for the wrong reasons. Things feel forced and Frankenstein together like they don't belong. Maybe the project itself doesn't know what it wants to be, which gives this sense of emptiness, like there isn't a point for it. If you want to know what true immersion feels like, well then, welcome to GloomWood, sucker. GloomWood takes place in a Victorian-era, gothic, steampunky world that's been devoured by a plague, a curse that's destroyed everyone's way of living. In this world, you play as the Doctor, someone who's been kidnapped by this hive mind, these rats who are taking advantage of the plague for profit. Or at least that's the way I see it. You see, the story isn't known. We learn as we go. All we know is that we've been trapped, we're being sold off to someone for unknown reasons, this dude named G saves us, gives us a ring, and now we're on our own trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in this foul, putrid city of GloomWood. You learn about the world, its inhabitants, and your purpose as the Doctor through notes and eavesdropping.
Dude, my balls are so fucking itchy. Bro, you always do this. What? I'm just trying to start a conversation. About your itchy ball sack? You know what? I'm done talking. I'm done talking.
I love this approach as it sucked me into the world right away. I felt like the Doctor, stepping into this claimed unknown territory, where any step I take can be my last. There were very few moments through my playthrough where I was dragged out of my immersive zen state. He's a bit slow, you know, just give him a second. GloomWood is a stealth game, heavily inspired by Thief. I haven't played the original Thief before, so I can't put my 2 cents in, but from what I've seen, I can see it. This game isn't for the impatient, as you'll be creeping around corners, learning your hunter's walk patterns, while stealthily picking them off one by one with a thrust through the spine. That ring you received at the beginning of the game is essentially your stealth meter. Stand in the light, bright yellow, you're a spotlight. Standing in the dark, you might as well be invisible. As you're making your way through this fish dock, trying to escape, you'll be picking off huntsmen, dragging their bodies into the ocean or into a dark corner, tossing bottles to cause distractions, and pickpocketing their keys to avoid confrontation entirely, and leaning into doors to scout out the other side. GloomWood isn't afraid to punish your mistakes, as resources are scarce, and head-on confrontations aren't ideal. Melee fighting is clunky and tedious. If you find yourself in a 2v1 situation or even a one-on-one with a rifle huntsman, the odds won't be on your side. This really encourages you to pick and choose your fights. Any way to tip the scale to your side, take it. Using the environment and setting up ambushes can help you avoid wasting precious resources, which you'll need for later segments of the game, especially if you're on a harder difficulty. GloomWood is heavily inspired by Resident Evil's inventory system, along with the find, caution, and danger health states. So not only is inventory limited, but so is healing supplies. I played on the second to last difficulty, which meant that any attack would instantly put me in the danger state. This caused me to fear any encounter, because not only does being in the danger state mean you're at death's door, but it also has its own downsides, like limping on your broken ankle while waiting for your adrenaline to kick in. Yeah, I'm doing the same joke. What are you gonna do about it? If you want to take your journey to the next level, you can play on the Blood Moon difficulty, which adds wax cylinders that act the same way as ink ribbons from Resident Evil. I'm definitely biased, but I love the inventory system in this game. However, it doesn't come without my grievances, which I'll touch on later. You have a briefcase which you need to physically place down in order to access its contents. And going into your inventory doesn't pause the game. So if you need to take a little snack break or inject some unknown liquid straight into your veins, you'll have to create a gap in the tension to do so. If you want to remove an item from your grid, you can physically drag it out into the world, which makes it feel so much more 3D, so much more alive. Want to check your map, notes, or health? Lucky for you, your notebook stores all that information. I love how almost every mechanic and aspect of this game is so seamless and diegetic. Half the time I forgot that I was in a menu. Hell, half the time I forgot that there wasn't even a HUD in this game. The map design, the audio, the ambience, checking your inventory, your notes, checking your ammo, everything was made with an insane amount of attention to detail. All made to keep you sucked into this world and to make you forget that you have a 9 to 5 waiting for you in a couple of hours. Fuck. The only thing missing, immersion-wise, is the stench of fish, corpses, vomit, and the wheezing contractions of your lungs as the plague slowly consumes you. Darkness can be your friend, but it can also be your enemy. If you want to see the remaining rounds in your revolver, you have to manually check the chamber, meaning you need light to do so. You can even see the spent rounds from the hammer strikes on the casings themselves. When you shoot a gun, the shell casings fall onto the floor and can be stored and used as a distraction device, if you're in a pinch. The background music is just the ambience of the world. The flies, flowing water, the groans and coughs of sick groups trapped inside of buildings, the creaks of wooden boards as you creep inside of pillaged hotels, the metal beams bending while you crawl your way above unsuspecting victims. The only music I can recall is the music coming from gramophones, which act as your save points. You can guess where the inspiration comes from. Eventually, when you make your way out of the fishing dock and towards the city market, you come across a lighthouse that's been supplied and left as a little sanctuary, just for you. Thanks, G. The gramophone inside has a message, and after listening to the message, I could tell something fell off. The music sounds different. It's slow and eerie. It gives a sense of uncertainty compared to the other gramophones. Like each note is being played by someone who's unsure, unconfident in their decisions. Almost like we're confused. Who is G? Why are they helping us? And can we trust them? Am I looking into this too deep? Speaking of the lighthouse, the level design in GloomWood is phenomenal. I can't tell you how many times I backtracked through an area or was looking for a loot and found a secret passageway or an alternative route that I could have took to approach an encounter entirely different. This also helped with dying, because normally if I died, I would just do what I did the previous life over again, but optimize it. However, the incredible map design, variety in paths, hidden paths, and secret vents made every life feel unique. I wouldn't be surprised if we can get through this entire game without ending a single soul or getting spotted whatsoever. Take this one building for example. I wasn't able to find a key to get inside, and for some reason the windows were completely indestructible. So, on my first attempt, I tried to jump down the chimney. Smart idea. My second attempt, I got the huntsman's attention, which lured him outside. In doing so, he slammed the door down. This gave me an idea to experiment and see if I could break the door down myself. As I was going back through this area while trying to record more clips, I found a little entryway on the side of the roof as another access point inside. This is just one building. The area before it has a window that can be opened, which is the only way to get this eavesdrop dialogue. From the roof on the previous building, you can climb across the pipelines to access this part of the roof. These varying routes don't even include the amount of secrets and hidden sellable gems you can find. It reminded me of the first time I found shimmering gems on the ceiling of caves in Resident Evil 4. I kept getting that same feeling here whenever I randomly swam in the water and found some hidden ammo or a gem, or when I swam behind this waterfall that took me way longer to climb up than I would like to admit. Only to be faced with a stack of cheese wheels and a note from Hobbs saying, "Not touch my cheese." I was just astonished at what a little bit of passion for a project and what actual love and dedication can do to make something feel this incredible. It's fun to explore the town, find hidden notes and open safes. It's fun to find an alternate way into a locked room or pickpocket a guard for their key. Every nook and cranny in these desolate streets has just a little something to find. Now let's just break the immersion and talk about what I liked and didn't like so much. First, the enemies are fun. I love their designs and there's enough variety to keep the game fresh. The voice acting is fine, nothing over the top, but it follows the aesthetic of the plague-filled land well enough to be believable. However, I really like the voice acting and design of the merchant, and he even throws a few recognizable quotes in his dialogue too.
What are you buying?
Oh my god, he said it. However, I feel like the merchant gets introduced way too late into the game. I understand why he appears when he does, as it flows into the world design a bit easier, but the amount of gems I had clogging up in my inventory since the beginning of the game became a headache to deal with. So much so to the point where I just left them at a previous save room, which led to me forgetting about them entirely. The guns were fine, and there was much more attention to detail regarding the guns than I thought there would be. Overall, the entire game had a ton of attention to detail. For example, if you killed a torch-wielding huntsman and he fell into an explosive barrel, things go boom. There's no headshots in the game, which not sure how I feel about it, especially with the armored foes. It feels like there should be a hitbox that isn't covered with armor, even if it doesn't do more damage. It feels clunky to have to pull a Joel on all of these guys. Overall, I don't have much to complain about, besides the research update. Yes, this game is still being actively developed. There's still a good chunk of content available if you like exploring every corner and taking your time, but if you want a finished product, I would hold off, because this update has issues that I hope get ironed out or changed in some way, and I feel as if people should be aware of the shortcomings. In the lighthouse we found earlier, there's a research table. On that research table, you can do some research on the specimen of this world. I'm not going to spoil the future enemies, but let's take a look at the bat barber for example. You can take the saw, find one of the corpses, cut it up, and take all the limbs back to the lighthouse. Examine the parts, and eventually make a serum that can transform you into a beast. Sounds good on paper, but the process of developing a single serum is so tedious to the point where you'll just want to take a look at the wiki to find the ingredients instead of interacting with the game in general. Sounds weird? Here's how it works. When you cut up a monster, you have to examine each of their limbs. Out of all the 6 or so ligaments, 3 of those will give you a portion of the recipe. After finding all 3 ingredients, you have to stick another part of the same demon onto your table, apply the 3 corresponding jars of disgusting slop on top, and let the magic happen. Sounds easy enough until you realize that there's no fast travel, the body parts take a huge chunk of your inventory space, basically cover up your entire inventory, and if you make one mistake in the recipe, all of your ingredients are gone. Done and dusted. It's just an unnecessary process that can be solved with a few simple design changes. Make a miscellaneous inventory that stores body parts and gems. Or give me a little companion that sends the limbs out to the lab for me. Same thing for the jars. It's not the worst experience I've had to deal with in a game. When you find the recipe once, it's written down in your notes, and from then on you have the recipe forever, but you still need to get a part from the monster itself to finish the serum. The bad catch is, you have to do this with every monster, so it doesn't even feel worth it. You might as well save a trip and a half by looking at the wiki, let alone the actual effects of the serum being fairly lackluster. My shotgun can wipe out an entire village at the cost of a good amount of resources, but the Bat Barber serum felt like I was slapping people in my dreams. This doesn't mean the serum's completely useless. The serums each have their own effects, the Bat Barber serum of which allows you to jump higher and fall like a feather, while also gaining stealth against the other Bat Barber enemies. I haven't found a use for it so far, but I'm hoping that further locations in the game allow for more use of these serums, besides just avoiding enemies a bit better. On the contrary, one serum of a creature that I won't spoil is borderline OP. Rightfully so. Going on a 2-minute rampage against these fuckheads never felt better. I think that's about it. I'm excited for future updates and the ending of the story. If you have any other games you want me to check out, let me know in the comments. And while you're there, like and subscribe. Oh, P.S. I also have a Discord, so it feels weird saying this shit. I'm starting to feel like a real YouTuber. Hold on. Wait, I gotta call my mom. Mom, I'm a YouTuber now, Mom.
How about you get a fucking job?
What the fuck?